Now, uh, I've liked most of Napoleon Hill's books because Napoleon Hill is one of the people that has made several millionaires, a lot of millionaires in the world, and those whom we recognize today have learned a lot from him. And one thing I like about Napoleon Hill, or one of the advice that I really loved about him, is the fact that you cannot have uh, is the fact that he's trying to tell us that you must have a fixed goal. You must set a fixed goal. Let me say that I'm having 100 bob. Let me just remove it from one Kenya shillings to 100 bob. Then my aim is to save 500 bob at the end of the month. Then I will ask myself, if I'm earning 100 bob per month, then what am I going to save to get the what? To get 500 shillings at the end of the month. Why am I saying this? Because there is no way you can achieve financial freedom, or you can have the finance that you have, the money that you want, without having a sure goal. Now, Napoleon Hill says that when you want to achieve something, or when you want some money, or when you want to be a millionaire, then aim at being a millionaire. Just tell yourself, okay, what I want is 1,000,000 Kenya shillings. Okay, what I want is 1,000,000,000 Kenya shillings. Let it be fixed. Don't be someone who is aimless and say, you know what, I want to be a millionaire, but you are not specific. How many millions do you want? Okay, I want to save money. How much do you want to save? And at the end of it, the savings, what are you going to do with the savings? So it is very crucial that in your plans and in your goals, you must set the amount that you want to achieve. And after setting the amount that you want to achieve, then this amount, after achieving it, what are you going to use with it? Guys, it is high time that I even told you last time that you don't have to think small, you have to think big. So forget about having small what? Forget about having small dreams or small financial dreams. Have big goals. Ask yourself, what do you want to do with your life? And always get paid, or we get money from the services that you offer. Now ask yourself, you want money, but what service do you want to offer? What do you want to do to people that will reward you that? So have your 100 bob, use 70% to do all the expenses, and then the 30% you can use the 10% in a charity work, then 10% in active capital, which means that you are investing in something that is active. Then the other 10% you can decide to even use in the passive capital. What do I mean when I say passive capital? That someone else is using your money to pay you. Now, in that case, for those who know business, or for entrepreneurs, or for those who have ventured into the business world, you can know about buying stocks, you can know about buying shares of companies. And actually, I can tell you there are shares even as low as 1,500 Kenya shillings. You can buy shares, and later on, you can get the dividends. Now, so how about when you tell yourself financially you are in a bad shape? Actually, it's an interesting mathematics that you should take in, so that you watch how the figures grow. Because if I tell myself, okay, at this point I have I have bills to pay, I have debts to pay, then you can decide to place it as 97 1, 1, 1, which means that I'll spend 97 of my 100 bob or 97% of my 1 bob in paying the bills, in paying for all the expenses that I want. Then 1 bob I will use in passive capital, 1 bob I will use in active capital, then 1 bob I will use in what? 1 bob I will use in uh, in charity, or uh, maybe something. If you are Christian, you can talk about church, all those. So with the time, you will realize that when you have a fixed aim, then one of the things you will learn, you will realize that instead of using the 70% or the 97%, you will start telling yourself, now I should be using 60%. Now I should be using 40%. Now I should be using 30%. That's why you realize that the richest people in the world, they live on the 30%, or some even live on 10% of their wealth, by the way. And you see them driving big cars, or maybe you see them the things that they do demands a lot of cash. You will realize that even people like Bill Gates or people like Jack Ma, maybe they just live on their 5% of their wealth. And what about the 95%? What do? They return it back to the capital. They return it back to the capital. So it is a very nice formula that you can use as one of the ways you can have your financial what? Financial plan. So have a better plan. Have a good idea that the savings that you want, what are you going to use them for? What are you going to invest in? And I tell you, before you invest in anything, be it a business or be it a company that you want to buy shares, you must have thorough knowledge. That's why I told you that one of the things that you have to do to be a productive person, you have to read a lot of books and you have to have knowledge about it. So before buying shares in of a company, before venturing into a business, then one thing you have to do, you have to study a lot about the business. You have to have knowledge about the business, and of course, don't forget the formula: 70%, 10, 10, 10. Then talking about that, there are people, sometimes we try to live outside our means. But if you are someone who wants to achieve financial freedom, then one thing that you have to do, you have to live within your means. Why am I saying that? Because if you want to be independent financially, then you have to stop being dependent on others. You have to live within your means. Why should I live for 100 bob if I know what I can afford is 50 bob? Why should I live for 20 bob if I know that what I can afford is 10 bob? Now, starting the year off, try to live within your means. When you try to live within your means, then you will end up being financially what? Financially independent, which means that at some points in your life, it will reach a point where someone is not going to call you for debt, someone is not going to call you to pay him, or someone is not going to disturb you, or maybe interrupt with the what? With your financial plans as you move the ladder high. Now, of course, capitalism is something very important. Just the same way that I gave you an example with a farmer. A farmer must always set seeds aside. In financial planning, you have to act like a farmer, and you have to act like a farmer on a daily basis, to a point that you know that today I have earned 100 bob. So next, how much am I going to earn? How much should I set aside to make me earn what? Earn more. a farmer will always set some seeds aside that he will use for the following season. And no matter what happens, these people never use what? Never use that seed that they have set aside. Now, another thing, the next thing that I want us to talk about, what are the steps? What are some of the steps? I want just to talk about maybe 6. I don't want to talk about much because of time. I want to talk about 6. Then after talking about 6, we will leave at that point. What are the steps that will make you move from a poor person to a rich person? What are the steps that you will apply in your daily life? Now, I've just given you some. I've just given you some of the plans that you have. After having a definite plan, after having a definite goal, you've set aside specific amount of money that you want to save, and you are not just saving for the sake, but you are saving for a greater purpose, which means that in your life, there is nothing boring like living a life without goals. There is nothing that you want to achieve with your life. Therefore, you might save for a few business, or maybe small business we call it, but then there is that bigger one that you're thinking of, that you're just saying, maybe you are just diversifying. Diversification is also very good when it comes to taking risk, or when it comes to investment. You diversify so you don't put all your eggs in one bucket. It's good to diversify across what? Across several businesses. So you might end up diversifying, but there is always what? One main goal that you want to achieve. So start the formula. Watch how things grows, how figures grows. Actually, you will find it interesting. Yes. And what are some of the things that will make you move from a poor person to a rich person? What are some of the things that you need to do during this year as you start your year? Of course, the first one that I'll wish from each and I will wish that to come from each and every person that is listening to me is persistence. There is something that sometimes I call the brain the station of thoughts. And sometimes I tell people that the brain has windows and it also has doors. And one thing that I want us to do, which is the first thing that I want us to talk about, is persistence. You must be someone who is continuously working on something to achieve it. Most of these people that maybe you see they are so much successful, their success didn't come over one night. Their success didn't come over 1 week. Some of them, their success came after 20 years. For us to have a company that is known worldwide, their success must have taken long. So there is what we call the station of thoughts. That is the brain. You have to know, what do you feed your brain with? When I talk about persistence, then I'm talking about someone who has closed the mind or has closed the station of thoughts or the brain from negative influences, even if it is from relatives or from families or even from friends that are close to you. You know, when you're starting something, one thing that happens when you're starting something, people always will always say, hiyo anaanza tu, lakini hizo zitafika point yenye itanini ataacha tu. Then it reaches a point, watu wanaanza kusema wacha tu wakae hapo, hata sidhani kama ataenda mahali. Then it reaches a point where people start admiring you. They say that, oh, we want to be like that person. They tell that to their children, they tell that to their friends, that why don't you achieve like so and so. Yet when that person was starting, they all laughed at him, they all threw all negative thoughts towards him. But then one thing you have to know, that once you have a definite goal, a specific amount that you want to achieve, or a specific amount that uh, you want to use for a specific what? Investment, then there is no going back. Then that brings me to the second thing that will take you from poverty to richness, the old man procrastination. I call it the old man because it always lies in the shadows of your thoughts and of course of your goals. It is always there. That old man always want to pop up when you actually set things going. Then the old man procrastination comes in. Now, why am I saying this? Because for you to achieve something or for you to be productive enough, there are simple things, the small things, the little things that we do each and every day, which of course now we are saying it's about financial planning. The little savings, the 5 bob you want to save, which is almost the 10% of what you have. But how about you save 5 bob for the next uh uh for the next, like for the next 300 days? How much will it be? Let's not talk about 5 bob, because some of us are able even to save 50 bob per day. For the next 300 days, how much will you have? We will have been talking about 15,000. 15,000, which investment can you do? There are several investments. In fact, you can even buy shares with 15,000. So I want to tell you, it's the little things that you do. So if you procrastinate that, oh, nilisave jana, nilisave leo, then unasema save next time, then today you get all the cash, you use it all away, then you realize that you haven't saved anything. At the end of the haujasave kitu. At the end of the month, you haven't saved that much. At the end of the year, you haven't saved that much. You don't have anything to start off with the following year. So be careful of the old man what? The old man procrastination. Then the next thing then, which everyone talked about the other time, is the power of a mastermind. I always tell people that one thing you must always have is the mastermind. They are a group of friends or a person that you can stay with that will always help you grow financially. Ah, I've met of course a few people in my life. Kitambo tu nilikuwa nadhania sitakuwahi kutana na watu kama hao, but when you really want something, and fortunately enough, then the world or the universe finds a way of giving you it. Now I tell you that there's this thing that is called the mastermind. These are people that you can come together. You people, whether you are 2 people, you can talk about how to invest. You can talk about what's the best business you can do. You can talk about what next step. You can talk about the big goals that you want to achieve. These are people that will help you move together towards the what? The big goal that you want to achieve in your life. Then uh, the door, the third one, the door, is it the third one or the fourth one? The door to the temple of wisdom, creative imagination. I call it the door to the temple of wisdom because everything that we enjoy today must have been created in someone else's thoughts, whether it is a car, whether it is a fancy house, whether it is a mansion. Then all of these things, they must have been created in someone else's thoughts. So you must be creative in your imagination. And I tell you people, don't fear or don't be afraid of dreaming big. I was just talking to one of my friends who is doing computer science, and when we were making stories, and then he was giving me a lot of ideas that he had then, and unfortunately was telling me about the fact that he's not having a lot of cash. Then he cannot afford to put the ideas that he has into practice. But I tell you that when you really want something, the universe will always give it to you. That's how it works. I think maybe it's not just the universe working in that way. Maybe it's God, because our God is fair enough that if you really want something, He will always give it to you. I want to invest. I want to do a business. Go outside there. Find a way of getting the cash, getting the money to start off. Find a way of getting the resources that is required to make you what? Make your step. And therefore, have creative imagination. Think about what is it that you can invest in, what is it that you want to achieve in your life, how big is it. Let me tell you, sometimes it has to be scary so that it keeps you awake several times, so that you get to uh, work each and every day towards it, and finally you will get to it. Now, I've talked about the mystery of procrastination. I've talked about persistence. I've talked about, of course, I've talked about, of course, when I was talking about imaginative when I was talking about creative imagination, then there's something that I don't know if I mentioned it the other time, but there is something we call the seed of action, our subconscious mind, the mind that operates unknowingly. Now, maybe it's about what we feed our mind with. That I said, like the door to the temple of wisdom. Now, our subconscious mind works in a way. I don't know if you people have read, I've seen this even in those who have achieved a lot when it comes to wealth, and of course, those who have achieved financial freedom. These people have had like the psychology of money. And I tell you that these people sometimes, most of these people, when they go to bed, they think about money. When they dream about money. When they wake up thinking about money. When they get outside there, then they get outside there thinking about what? Thinking about money. Now, why am I saying this? What these people listen to, they listen to what? They listen to things to do with money. What these people watch, they watch things to do with money. What these people read, they read things to do with the money. And then achieving financial freedom is about reaching to a point where you don't have to go to work to buy yourself something, or where you don't have to go to work to what? To afford your daily what? Your daily bills. Now, I'll wish to just give all those the few highlights I've given, of course, talking about the steps. They are very many, so they can reach up to 20, which I can't finish. Of course, one time I want to talk about the mystery of sex transformation, or sex transmutation, or how we can transform the sexual energy into doing something important with our lives. Of course, when we it comes to money, something that can make us have money. I told you that you must offer service to humanity to get something in return. So, what do you do with your $1 or your 1 shillings? How much money have you invested? How much do you want to save? Of course, the steps that will make you achieve whatever financial freedom that you want to achieve in your life. So let me just get back to, of course, Elfas, and maybe if someone wants to add something on top, can just add.
Okay, thank you so much for giving me an opportunity. I'm really grateful to all of you who have made your time to attend the meeting. I'm also really grateful to Martin Shikuku for the powerful presentation that we have had. You are such a powerful speaker that's why we have even given you a second chance, and we are looking forward to even give you more chances to speak to us. And I've greatly learned from you on how can I plan for my finances. And I'm really grateful that you have said that if you want to if you want to have financial freedom, you have to read books. And I want to take everything you have said I want to put them into action so that I can have financial freedom by the end of this year, or in the next few years I will be financially stable, or I will be a man that people can look up to. Now, I don't know if anyone has got a question. If you have a question, you can raise your hand. If you have a question, you can just click where you have a hand, then I will see you have raised it, then I will give you an opportunity. Okay, if not, I also appreciate the new members who have also attended. You are highly welcome to ESSA Mentorship Group. We normally have this talk every week, Wednesdays. So next week we shall tackle a topic by the name budgeting. So I welcome all of you to come and attend the talk on budgeting. So I welcome you all to attend, and I welcome